Hey everyone. Yesterday a new subscriber asked me if I was restoring any engines, and I said yes, I'm restoring a 4.5 horsepower United, and I realized that I hadn't done any videos on this recently, even though I've done some work to it in the past couple months. So I figured I'd give you all an update and show you what it looks like. I don't remember what I did in the last video, but currently it does run. I have made it fire over a couple times, but it doesn't run very well because the fuel tank isn't set up. I was just priming the mixer with a couple squirts of gas out of a squirt oil can, and there's no oil or no grease cups hooked up. So I would just squirt oil into the oil fill tube with the oiler, and I just put one grease cup in each bearing and turned it a couple times and took it out and put it into the next bearing. But it does make fire, it does make noise. I bought some nice springs to use for governor springs. I still have to adjust the governor. I got a nice return spring for the push rod. That was, if anyone's looking for a long spring like that, if you look for a screen door closing spring, that works pretty well. I had to shorten it a little bit. You see one end right there is discolored because I had to cut it and then heat it and bend it to make a new hook on the end. I got the igniter installed, and I timed it. And to time it, you adjust the threaded push rod there. Or not push rod, it's a trip rod. And you also adjust that little wedge-shaped thing, which makes the trip rod push up, and that's what snaps the igniter. Got the valve springs installed and valves, mixer. And over on the other side, I got most of the fuel lines in. It's all 1/4-inch brass pipe. I have a brand new horizontal check valve from Starbolt, and this is just a little choke thing I made. There's the mixer with the holes in it, and I made this little piece of sheet metal for a choke. I don't know if I'll need it, but I was trying to mess around with trying to get it to draw fuel from a makeshift tank, so I made that little choke for it. This valve here is a primer valve. You see there's a little bent copper fuel line going to the mixer. That helps prime the mixer with some fuel for starting. Then I have a fuel line that comes from here all the way back to where the fuel tank is going to be, which I was mocking up with a tire. I had a fuel tank made by John Wanat, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his last name, in West Reading, Connecticut. He just finished it. I haven't gotten it yet. So that's going to go there. I've been mocking up some fuel line. I still need to, this is where the compression release goes. I still need to put a compression release in there. I did get a nice muffler for it. I found this at the flea market in the Cool Spring Engine Museum show. It was a little rough, and at each spot where it was fastened with the screw here, rust had separated these two halves and cracked the cast iron. So I cut the old rivets out, took out all the rust, and I filled the cracks up. You can still sort of see them. There's a little crack there. You can sort of see it. But I filled it up with JB Weld, You can see some of the JB Weld here, and I tried to blend the JB Weld in with the rest of the cast iron by using a Dremel with a little rotary burr, and I would just keep pecking at the JB Weld to make little dots in it so it would match the finish of the cast iron. I didn't really do too good of a job over there, but some of the other spots it blends in better. Like right over here, actually. Right there is a patch. See how the dots look a little bit different? Anyways, the muffler is taken care of. I got to put a compression release valve in. I do have an oiler, I just haven't installed it yet. And I need grease cups. I have a grease cup for the rod, but I need 2 nice looking grease cups, 3/8 pipe thread. I have some that are 1/4 inch pipe thread, and I have some that are 1/2 inch pipe thread. And I could of course adapt them, but I want it to look really nice because I've spent this much time on it. So if you have 2 maybe brass or nice steel grease cups, 3/8 pipe thread, send me a message and I'll potentially be interested in purchasing them from you. That's about it. I did weld on a crankshaft extension. I must have mentioned that in a previous video because one of the previous owners, for whatever reason, chopped off the crankshaft right here. Maybe couldn't get it out from the building it was in, or who knows what. But you could see it was hacksawed 3/4 of the way through it, and then there was a break mark where it was just hammered off. And what a shame that is. You know, so you couldn't put a pulley on it. But I welded this on. I don't really plan on putting a pulley on it or using it for any power, because I would be afraid of breaking that joint, even though I do think I welded it very well. But now it's original, it's correct. And I think it looks a lot better with an extended crankshaft, because that's how all these engines came. Of course, some engines, they had a short crankshaft stub and mounting bolts on the flywheel spokes, but this doesn't have that. So that about sums it up for this engine. Nothing else I can think of that I worked on. So I'll need to finish up the gas tank, and I'll make a battery box for it, install the oiler, make sure it runs. Then I'm going to clean everything really well, soap and water. This will probably be next spring. When it's warm, I'll clean everything really well. And then I'll pinstripe it. And then I need to give the cart another coat of paint because I accidentally got some paint spray on it. So I'll have to repaint the cart a little bit. And then it'll be completed. And I do need to paint also little bits and pieces like nuts and stuff that I didn't paint because I knew they'd be marred by wrenches, so I'm going to touch those up. And like these bolts here. But that's about it. So, I don't know, I'll keep you guys updated. Leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and come back for more.